Because it is my guilt, I claim you grievous miracle. Make my chest hurt with regret. Forge your punishment and nail it deep. Shape my guilt once again.
The first thing you notice about Blasphemous is how visually appealing it is. Right from the menu and the opening cinematic, you know you're in for something good. The backgrounds are pixel perfect, the enemies are grotesque, and the bosses are beautifully designed in both function and looks. Each boss is a unique and wonderfully exotic blend of uncanny imagery and surrealness. You got King Midas, you got Groot, they even got a cameo appearance by Tutu. I don't even want to know how they got that. They all play out a different way, and there's a decent density of them throughout the game, so you don't feel like they've sacrificed quantity for quality either. The plot isn't spoon-fed to you, but found in the lore of the game. I'm a casual player, so I didn't care enough to figure out what was going on, but the visuals alone were enough to keep me engaged, which, again, I can't praise enough. Instead of having the same enemy repeat a dozen times, each enemy needs to be dealt with a different strategy. You'll die a lot of times, but you learn with every death, and every time you come back, you'll make it a bit further. It's a game that rewards resilience and determination. On the other hand, once you know how an enemy works, you can fight back extremely effectively. An enemy that you once had trouble with just becomes a series of button presses that you have to sit through. There's no challenge anymore. So how does Blasphemous solve this problem? It throws a shit ton of different kinds of enemies at you. Unlike other games, Blasphemous rarely recycles the same enemies, so you're never just fighting a series of the same dude. The player's kept on his toes so that it's not just shoot, shoot, repetitive. And when you finally make it through the horde to a bonfire shrine doodad, the feeling of relief and accomplishment is tremendously satisfying. It's the same concept as a bunch of other games that the game makers built upon, while still keeping the experience fresh and original, and Blasphemous really is a breath of fresh air. Here's the bad part. Right from the beginning, Blasphemous gives the player complete freedom, but this doesn't work perfectly because of A, the lack of decent fast travel, and especially B, the shitty map. With a game this huge, a cohesive map is a basic yet vital tool that you need to keep track of what's where and where what is. There's characters, vendors, side missions, collectibles. There's a lot in this game that requires a lot of backtracking, but absolutely none of it shows up on the map. Instead, you get this bare bones troglodyte-ass map that shows next to nothing. Because you can't possibly remember where one important character or collectible was, you end up going to the internet for help, which creates a disconnect between the player and the game. Instead of this, you have this. Halfway through the game, I realized I wasn't dying to enemies and even bosses as much as I was dying to spike traps and instant deaths. Suddenly all the progress, the upgrades, everything that the game had taught me, none of it meant anything anymore. And I wasn't learning something new with every death either. It's almost as the creators were so intoxicated with the idea of making a challenging game that they confused tedium with difficulty. This is not difficult, this is frustrating. And when a game bullshits you feel like bullshitting it back. The next time the axe got me, the game glitched on me and spawned me a layer above the spikes, so I didn't die. So I said, hey, I'll take it, and I cheesed that part. The game had abused me and I was okay with abusing it. These issues don't break the game by enemies, they're just annoying, and in spite of them, Blasphemous is still a terrific game, and you can feel the love, passion, and fervor that the developers put in really shine through. It's a challenging game at its best and tedious at its worst, but these flaws are relatively minor in the face of the game as a whole. It took me 11 hours to beat this game and I loved about 10 of them. 10 on 11.